Hello, Comp and Lit for students. So this video is about the trick yourself into writing an essay assignment. This is for anyone that missed class that day or maybe did not quite get it all turned in, but especially for remote students. So we're going to write an essay, but it's a very, very simple one, a very repetitive one, and it's going to be really easy to get done. Everyone that was in class, well, for the most part, got it done in class together. And you can just work along with me in this video and you will have it done pretty much by the time I'm done with this video here. So under the agenda, which is what we're looking at right here, first I want to point out, make sure that you have done this if you haven't already. Go to here and go do the Star 360 test for English. Just get it done, try on it, but don't sweat it too much. It's obviously not a grading class, as I think you all know by now, but we do need that info, and it will let us know whether or not you need remedial English. So take it seriously and don't just blow it off, or we're going to think that you need a bunch of fifth block English classes once we're back into fifth block. Okay, all that aside, we're going to talk about this right here. Trick yourself into writing an essay. TRIC, which is our acronym for topic. R is review. It's not review, though. It's something else, isn't it? Topic, review, illustrate, and conclude. I feel like review is not the right word, but maybe it is. You'll see the instructions are down here in full, and I'm going to talk through these really quick, and then we're going to go through it together. But the instructions are also in where you actually turn this assignment in, which is under Schoology, paragraphs and essays. And you click onto this right here, you'll see that there's instructions in there. And actually, when you create this essay, you're going to create it in here. I'm going to do it in Google Docs because it's just easier, and I can't do a create thing on here, but that's when you go into here. And for you about here, it's going to say submit assignment. And then there's a box with 3 tabs, and the tab in the middle says create. So you click on that create one. It's just how you type in and do stuff. It's how you've been doing the daily writing and stuff like that anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look through a little slideshow. I'm really just going to skip through most of it and just show you slide 5. I'm going to demo a trick paragraph, and then you're going to work through 2 together. That is going to be based on a prompt that you do, and you're going to do one about what you should never do when you're doing a certain thing, one about what you should always do, and then you're going to kind of craft that into a very simple draft of a very short essay that is exactly 13 sentences, okay? So let's start with this slideshow. I want to talk about a couple things on here. First, as it says on here, a sentence, you know this, hopefully, is a group of words with 2 main parts, a subject and a predicate. Together, these parts express a complete thought. So we've been talking about this all semester, really, and or building up to it, to where you put a sentence together that has a complete thought, has a subject and a predicate. Well, a paragraph is when you have a group of sentences that share a common topic and work together as a unit of expression. Now, I kind of think about it in a couple ways. Like if you bake a cake, there are some specific ingredients that are all working together to make that cake. You don't throw in soy sauce randomly. You don't throw in, unless they have some weird soy sauce cake or something, but you don't throw in some other ingredient as well while you're at it, because it would ruin the cake. You're focusing on just baking that cake, or on making up the batter for that cake. Another way to look at it is, let's say you've got a basketball team. You have your group of basketball players that are on the team working towards the same goal, and that's that team winning. You don't throw in a football player for the heck of it, or a soccer player, and you don't throw in a teammate from the other team. It's all one specific team trying to get one thing done. In this case, it's a paragraph of sentences trying to express one more specific thought or idea or argument. In a composition, it's a unit of paragraphs, whereas a little bit bigger, it's adjoining paragraphs, and all those paragraphs are little subtopics around a main idea, and they're all working together to make the composition work out. Okay? These next few are just about making more complex stuff and more complex sentences and sounding more like you're smart instead of dumb, right? We all want to sound like we're smart, or at least hopefully you want to at least sound like you're not completely dumb. And then we get to, I think I just skipped it on accident, this one right here. This is what we're going to do today, is this trick paragraph. Topic, restatement, that's how it was written out, that's what confused me earlier, illustration, and conclusion. These are very basic 4-sentence paragraphs that introduce an idea, expand it a little bit, support it and explain it. Sorry, I'm going down. They introduce an idea, expand it a little bit, support and explain it with an illustration or example, and then tie it all together in the end to close it. Okay, so this illustration part especially, and a little bit on this restatement, but the illustration part, this is what you'll balloon out a little more in the future, and you're really focus on, making this more like as you get further along in high school, this is what you want to get better at, is this part. Well, you want to get better at all of it, but this is the part where you're really going to add in and expand your paragraphs and be more specific. But with that, in that spot, you're going to do stuff like use facts or statistics, and these are things you would cite, because you got to show where your fact came from, because people don't just trust you because you say something. At least they should not. Otherwise, that's how things like, Facebook posts happen that make everybody think that the world's flat or something stupid like that, because people just state it as fact, and then somebody shares it and somebody else just believes it. We want to have cited stuff, but we're not going to make you do citation for this paragraph. We're going to go through and do examples, illustrations, instances, because we've got a very basic thing that you can just kind of reason out through logic. Stuff that most people would know is what you're going to pick for this. Okay. Or, details. All these are basically kind of the same. They're just things that are supporting a notion that you have, right? Great. Now, let me compose a TRIC paragraph for you really quickly. So I am going to add this onto the bottom of this page right here. Like I said, you're going to actually start typing yours on the create section on Schoology, but I just can't demo that because I'm not a student of the class. I'm a teacher and I don't have that option. So here we go. What we're going to do is I'm going to start, and I got T, topic, and I got R for restate, and then I for illustrate, and then C for conclude. So my topic sentence, let's see. I am going to talk about, let's see, I had a couple. I'm looking at my previous ones. I'm kind of cheating off my notes here. One is about, so everybody should wear a mask in public. That's my topic, right? Everyone should wear a mask in public. Okay, that is my topic. Now I'm going to restate that, but I'm going to add a little bit to it and explain more. I'm not just saying it again, although that does kind of help to make sure that your reader is catching for sure what you're talking about and what specific thing you're saying. But I'm going to say specifically a little bit more about why someone should wear a mask and why I'm saying everyone needs to wear one in public. So wearing a mask will help you stop the spread of the Rona. Regular period. I'm doing a serious essay. I don't need exclamation points for that, right? Okay, so that is my restatement. So I'm saying not only about wearing masks in public, but I'm saying this is what I'm specifically talking about as we're stopping this spread here. Now I'm going to illustrate why that is an important point. So I'm going to illustrate that by saying even a simple cloth mask can reduce the amount of spit droplets that you release. Okay, and then I'm going to go for my conclusion, where I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to kind of remind what the topic was about, and I'm also going to try and close it in a nice way and close any threads that I have here. So I want to make sure that I mention that you're wearing a mask, and I'm going to mention that you are going to help control the spread of an infectious disease. So my final sentence is going to be, by wearing a mask, you can help stop the spread of a disease. Very simple. Now, I'm not writing this in like the way I would write an essay if I was trying to turn something in, because I'm an English teacher. I'm supposed to be really smart. So I would use really big smart person words and lots of longer sentences, and I wouldn't be so repetitive. But this is just an example. So we're going to keep it easy and simple. And now if I take away all this stuff, look at this. Voila. I've written a paragraph, and it's all around one specific topic. It's not one long sentence with everything I'm trying to say. It's not a whole bunch of extra stuff. It's not distracting and stuff like that. And so there it is. Got that one all done. So that's my example. Now, what I want you to be typing here, this is going to be your blank spot, and you're going to start typing. I don't want you to type what I type. I want you to type something like I type. So we're going to look up here really quick, because you can look at my examples as we go through. slideshow, trick paragraph, demo. Now we're going to work on our first two trick paragraphs together. But before we do that, we're going to have, this is the thing about create and open your document. We're going to have we're going to make sure this is about two similar things because we're making an essay. So we want to make sure that we know what we're writing about so that we can have our body paragraphs be about that. And you're basically going to fill this in right here. And what it is it says, when you are blank, you should never blank, but should always blank. So my examples are when you are lifting something heavy, you should never lift with your back, but should always lift with your legs. Or when you are making a phone call, you should always blah, 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 or you should never blah, 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 and you should always blah, blah, blah. When you are asking someone out on a date, you should never blah, 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 but should always blah, blah, blah. I had some people wrote about so far whenever you are it's like whenever you're dealing with cattle in some way, it was you should never wear plain shoes and you should always watch for a bull that might charge. So those are two very kind of different things, but we're writing a very simple essay. So like they're along the same lines. That's fine. So they could be a little bit more specific and linked close together, but you don't have to for this example. Another one was when you are driving, you should never speed, but should always obey the traffic signs, stuff like that. So, and pick something simple, something don't try and do something zany. Don't try and do something impressive. Just do something very simple and easy to talk about that you can reason out yourself. So I'm going to go down here and I have copied that and I'm going to paste it and I'm going to fill it in. And I'm going to go with my example there. When you are lifting something heavy, she hate me. Why? Okay, you should never lift with your back, but should always lift with your legs. Okay, this is not the beginning of my paragraph. This is actually the thesis statement to my essay. And so when I'm writing this essay, I know that I'm going to write about two specific things at least. I'm going to say one paragraph, in this case, about never lifting with your back, and another one about always lifting with your legs. Stick with this exact template. Don't stray from it. We're just trying to be simple here and get something done that you can finish basically while I'm jabbering on here and turn it in right when we're done on this video. Okay. So my first sentence is going to just be this, and this will be super repetitive. You wouldn't want to turn in an essay like this as even a sophomore or a junior, but as a freshman, this is getting you started. It's okay to be repetitive and say stuff over and over again. You would just go back and edit this out a little bit and revise it and make it sound nicer and prettier and smarter, right? So when you are lifting something heavy, you should never lift with your back. Super repetitive. It's actually driving me a little bit crazy how bad it is. I can actually, I'm just going to stick with it. Okay, you should never lift with your back. I'm doing the exact same thing that I had up there. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Okay. It is bugging me. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do a revise thing here. I'm going to say, don't lift with your back when you are lifting something heavy. That's better. I can live with that. It keeps on heavy for some reason. Okay. So now that's my introduction, or my topic sentence, sorry. And now I'm going to restate that. I am going to restate this in a way that explains a little further by saying that you can cause a major back injury lifting heavy objects if you are not careful. So now I'm expanding on this a little bit to say that my topic is not just about don't lift with your back. It's also about you can cause an injury, right? Now I'm going to illustrate, and I'm going to say a little bit about how that can happen. And I'm just going to reason it out. I don't need to cite anything. I'm just going to reason it out, and I'm going to say that when I have a better one right here. Sorry. Your back doesn't have good support when you are bending over and you can injure your spine, right? Yay, I meant injure. Okay, so there is my illustration. Now I'm going to conclude. It's my fourth sentence. I only want 4 sentences per these 2 middle paragraphs. You'll see the other ones we get to. But these 2 trick paragraphs, don't add extra. Don't go crazy with it. Just 4 simple sentences, right? Easier for me to grade, easier for you to write. And then my last line here is to be safe, you should never lift with your back. Not introducing anything new. I'm just closing it up. I'm reminding people about it. I'm talking once again about the fact that it's about injury and about lifting with your back. Okay, now for my next one, I am going to start my second part, which is what I should always do, right? So this one is just about what I should never do. Next one is about what I should always do. And then I'm going to say when you are lifting something heavy. Oh, I would keep doing that. That's a weird tick that I got going there. You should always lift with your legs. Okay, good. Now I'm going to expand on that. Remember, with my restate, lifting with your legs is much safer when dealing with a heavy, weird object. Restated now. I've added a little bit to it. I'm talking about being safe, right? This allows, now I'm going to explain with an illustration, allows your spine to stay straight and not be overextended. Great. So there is my first and second body paragraphs. I'm going all along. That's great. Make sure you get your 4 sentences in each, and you're talking only about the why you should never lift your back, and only about why you always should. Well, that was in your case, why you should never do whatever, and why you should always do whatever in that other one. So I'm going to go back up to my notes here, and I'm going to see that next you're going to. This is the one we just did. Yep. We're going to finish this. No, we're going to skip that. We're going to draft an intro and a conclusion paragraph. And I just want 3 sentences in your intro: an attention getter, a link, and a thesis. In your conclusion, I want you to restate your thesis, and then I want you to have a clincher. These don't have to be perfect. This is just a draft. I don't care about your grammar. I don't care about your spelling. I do care a little bit of punctuation because I want to know that you know how to make complete sentences here. But overall, I'm just worried about you getting this very simple 13-sentence paragraph essay done. So what I've already got here, though, is this right here is actually my thesis. So the hardest part is done. Thesis is done. What I need before that is I need an attention getter of some kind. So in this case, I am going to use kind of a shocking statement, and I'm also going to say like a story here. I'm going to tell a story because you can do startling statement for an attention getter. You could do a fact or a figure. You could do a quote. You could tell a story. You could make a reference to something that everyone that you think is reading it will know about. Those are a lot of ways that you can get someone's attention in the beginning. In the beginning, you're not necessarily introducing your topic as much as you are trying to get people to listen to you and hinting at your topic. It needs to be related. You don't just type out, "You're all going to die," because then when you like that, you should not lift heavy stuff with your back. And it's like, what? Why am I reading this? Person's not serious. But so instead, though, a very real thing that gets your attention is imagine lifting. I think the imagine one could work for about anything that someone picked for topics out here. Most of them that I saw from other people. So like the one about driving fast. Imagine driving to the grocery store and ending up in the hospital. You should never drive over the speed limit. You should always obey signs, that kind of thing. But I'm going to say, in this case, imagine lifting a box from the ground and putting yourself in the hospital. Okay. Now, my next sentence is a link. I don't want to have, I could just go right into this when lifting something heavy, but really between these two, what I really need is a link of some kind. Another sentence that says, it's kind of like a landing from your attention getter. Now that I've got your attention, I'm going to kind of bring you into my thesis statement. And the link in this case, I'm going to do something like this, like something, as I spell something as simple as lifting a big box can cause a big injury. Look how clever that's written out, right? Now, I have got myself an introductory paragraph. Attention getter. Imagine you could end up at the hospital. Link. Something like lifting a box can cause an injury. And then my thesis. When you're lifting something heavy, you should never do this. You should always do this, or whatever you're talking about. Then I've got my two body paragraphs. Time for my conclusion paragraph, which in this case is going to be just two sentences. I'm going to restate my paragraph and I'm going to do a clincher, or my thesis rather. So first I'm going to restate my thesis, and I'm going to say, I'm going to change it around a little bit so I can remind at the final thing here what my topic was. Lift with your legs, not with your back when picking up something heavy. Now, you notice how, still with that second E in my heavy, you'll notice that these are really repetitive. You see how many times that heavy, lifting, all this? Yes, I would go back and fix that. It would drive me crazy if I was trying to turn this into somebody else. But this is a good way to get the skeleton done out on it, or to get your first simple essay done. So there is that. And now I want a clincher. A clincher is like, what am I going to close with? How am I going to kind of like tie everything together? And you kind of want to be clever in the closing, but you don't have to be. It could just be in the end here, like, remember to always be safe when moving objects or something like that. But I got my little clever line locked and loaded here. It's going to be safe and keep your back intact. Look how clever I am. Not clever enough to remember that's just one word, but look how clever I am. I've got that. So 13 sentences. Get yours done, turn it in. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about spelling. Do worry about your sentence punctuation, because I got to know that you can do complete sentences. And you'll get those very easy points. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and you're welcome for me doing this for you.